Here we are, another Friday Night Live, May 5th, 2023. Hope everybody's doing amazing. It's had a nice sunny day today. Started off a little wet in the morning, but cleared up. We got some sunshine. Got some sunshine happening for the weekend. Who doesn't love the sunshine? Sunshine puts a smile on everybody's face. You know, how many smiles do you see outside when it's minus 30 with the wind and snow blowing? You're not going to see many smiles. I think few. Go outside and challenge yourself in that beautiful cold weather. It's nothing like the crisp cold. It makes you feel alive, that's for sure. It's one thing the cold does. It makes you feel alive. Heat puts you to sleep, but the sunshine puts a smile on everybody's face, pretty much. Unless you're in a very, very obstructive state, then you're not going to feel good with the excessive heats, right? Excessive heat is just not comfortable when you're not in a good health. It's a lot of extra strain on the cardiovascular system and heart and so on and so forth. Hello, how you doing? Nice to see you. How do you pronounce your name? Papayao?
Hi, yes, it's Papayao, but you can just call me Yao for short.
All right, Yao. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Awesome.
So what brings you to the Masterfast realm?
Well, I don't know if I can answer that consciously, but I actually came across you about like in 2017. And
Wow, long time.
yeah, and I guess some part of me wasn't ready, so I didn't jump in. Though I picked parts and pieces, and I try to do it myself. So I just I picked up the grape juice and the lemon, and I went ahead, and I tried it. I lasted about 14 days. Just doing that, and then I cracked. And it wasn't pretty, first thing that happened was I went to Osmos and got two falafel sandwiches.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
survived. You're still here.
yeah. It wasn't pretty. I blew up, and it took a couple of years to really just kind of get that away. Did a lot of fasting to help out. I have a history of fasting, so it wasn't really tough getting back to it. But over the last couple of weeks, I've been just listening to the videos on YouTube and reading the protocol, and realized how badly I messed up. It was just it's not the thing to do. You really need all the different components. So yeah, this
Well,
time.
there's many people who just think they can do it every way. They really don't understand the power of that juice, how much of a solvent it is. And that's why we say that you should never ever use cooked juice for a juice fast, because Master Fast is not a juice fast. We use juice, one of the things we use, but it's definitely not a juice fast. I learned my lesson in 1990 when there was zero information, and I just, went in and I got myself in trouble. Ended up in bed for almost 2 years, right? So yeah, we'll hear it when we're ready.
Right.
It's very interesting. Where are you from?
So originally I'm from Ghana, but moved there when I was 13 with my parents, and currently I'm in like North York.
Oh,
Um,
North York.
Ghana. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, just actually live in Concord, which is so crazy to me. But I'm just at the border of North York and I guess Vaughan.
Yeah,
Um,
you're around the corner from us. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, it's pretty wild, but I'm looking to really do this because I just want to take my health to. I want to see the optimal like health I can possibly get from this vessel, and be able to operate at the highest level I can possibly do, so that I can do what my purpose is fully, right? So that's kind of my mission in life. I've been dealing with something in my liver. I'm not sure what that is, but it just kind of feels like it just draws my attention there a lot. Um, but not like there's no pain or anything. But I just really want to just like get to the optimal, and that's kind of my goal.
What do you mean? You feel like energy blockage?
Um, yeah, it's like so growing up in Ghana, we ate mostly, I'll say traditional foods are mostly like starches, like a lot of tubers and like corn, that kind of stuff. And so I grew up on that. Didn't eat out so much, but was having that stuff. And then when I came to Canada, started get into a little bit of the fast food, but not too much.
But there's a lot of
Um,
fruit in Ghana, isn't there?
there is, but it's funny because even though there's a lot of fruits, it's not really part of the culture to like really eat a lot of fruits. Like
Yeah.
a typical breakfast would be like it's like grounded cassava dried. People will like soak it in water and then some beans. That would be like one type of breakfast. Or like rice cooked in water, but it's watery with like some sugar and milk. So I don't know. It's like I think like maybe about 400 years ago, just with like colonialism and all that, like that whole like we're not taking advantage of the fact that we have amazing land, fertile soil, you can grow anything. um and we just kind of have drifted away, and now fast food chains like McDonald's and KFC and all this Western like fast food chains are coming in now, and people are soaking it up, right? So it's kind of messed up that way.
Yeah, it's interesting, we want what everybody else has, and everybody else wants what we have. It's
Right.
all
Right,
backwards.
right.
We're not happy with what we have in our own land. Hey, you know, the, these cuisines, and it goes back with cultures, and it goes back with, ancestors and generations, and it's very hard to break that with people. This is why when people are getting involved in fasting, it's really challenging for people because it affects their whole way of life. Food is people's lives.
Right.
And I honestly say a big percentage, probably most people cannot handle that whole social aspect of change, because it affects everything you do when you change into a fasting lifestyle. So that's why we say, we the first foremost thing we need to look at is the spiritual. Why we want to do this. If it's for physical things, for just health, I don't see people lasting. I really don't. You need to have that spiritual uh, uh, craving, the spiritual craving to sustain yourself. And the physical stuff takes care of itself. You don't have to think about anything. Everything takes care of itself when you live a fasting lifestyle. We don't have to
Right.
worry about it. So, you know, you know, uh, having a relationship with our Creator, and serving our Creator and serving mankind, all these wonderful things, instead of look what we've seen, especially in the last 3 years, absolutely diabolical what's been going on. So
Yeah.
it's up to us to make those changes, and I'm actually seeing things going backwards, and especially in the last 3 years. I'm just like, wow, holy mac, mankind is really at a testing ground. So anyway, it's a test for all of us. Let's see if we pass.
Yeah, it's people like you, setting just kind of like being pioneers and trailblazer, right? And just like being an example and really putting that energy out there because yeah, a lot of people are asleep, and
Yeah,
even with me on my path, it's just like when I went vegan, my parents were freaking out, and then I did like raw veganism and they were just like, what?
yeah.
Um
I went through that over 30 years ago.
and they actually converted after a while. I just stopped even trying to convince them and they just naturally changed their diets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to more vegan now, and
Awesome.
which is crazy, but they're doing it. They're still very much attached to like the medical system, so
Yeah.
there's still a bit of a hurdle there, but I mean, everyone has to kind of figure that out for themselves, I guess. Um, but yeah, like, yeah, it's been a journey. I went raw vegan for a couple of years, mostly sprouts. Um, I like to work out a lot, so I was a bit attached to just having that physique. And I found like lentil sprouts gave me that energy and I was still able to maintain like a good physique on it. But then I started kind of overdoing the lentil sprouts and I found like, it wasn't digesting really like well. Um, just having issues with that. So, and then I flipped. I went to a friend of mine's farm who's like a herbalist. And I wanted to go learn plant like medicines and because I'm like, hey, if I can live in nature and know what plants to just live on, then I'm out of here. Like, what do I need, to literally like what do I need to be paying rent for, like all this groceries. I'm just out of here. I'll just go into nature. So I went there and I got a shocker because though he's very much into herbalism and he helps people, he's also like a meat eater and he's into like eggs and cheese, pretty much the Weston A. Price Foundation kind of philosophy.
Hmm.
Um, and then I got like drawn into that. After like a couple months, I guess his authority and influence kind of like got to me. So I started exploring that and I kind of just went backwards. I started drinking raw milks and raw cheeses and and even got into like bone broth and I don't know, it went there, but with time I just noticed it wasn't working. I was like, man, this is not working. When I speak of the liver, like, when I would take those like the heavy creams and stuff, it was just I would just feel like I guess kind of like just stuff moving in there, but a bit unnatural, kind of like pops, but not really pops, just kind of like just something happening that didn't feel natural. I'm like, it's not supposed to be doing this intuitively. Um, and so um, just this spring, I just decided, hey man, I need to stop. I need to stop this. And in doing this, I was doing one meal the last couple of years. I've averaged like one meal every 2 days, one meal every 3 days, and but doing it with those products was like really tough to get through like those 2 days. Whereas when I was like raw vegan, it was so easy to fast. It was easier, let's say. So after a while, it's like, man, it's not working. I felt really strong, listening to a bit of your story. I think you went really hard on the fats and the oils and stuff. And going to the gym, I felt really strong, like I was lifting a lot of weights and I felt good in that area, but it was just looks and cosmetics, right? Because internally, I'm like, man, I'm not really feeling good. So yeah, I'm out of that. And
Yeah, this is, the last 3 years, especially, we've seen a lot of people move more into the heavier, dense matter stuff, like a lot.
mm,
People that were plant-based vegans going into carnivores and like a lot, big movement, and all kinds of stuff's happening. it's really, really strange. I haven't seen this in these last 30 years. These
Wow.
last 3 years have been quite a big change for humanity, and you know, we'll see where it takes us. But you know, we need to be strong in our spiritual path. Otherwise, we get wiped out. There's no another choice in my book which way we need to move. Mankind is in a really strange position right now. Do you still have family in Ghana?
No, well, extended family. Most of my family is here. And we're all kind of spread out. Like I could probably count on my one hand how many cousins, you know, I have back home. Everyone is like either in Europe or the States or here. So it's kind of messed up that way too. So I'm a loner, like literally, like my family, like, you know, my brother and I, my family, we're kind of like loners in that, like, we came here alone, you know, and growing up here was weird too, because we were living in London, Ontario, and then we kept on moving, so didn't really get to build like friendships for, you know, a long time. So it's kind of weird like that, but in a way too, it's helped me out, just kind of like build my individuality and be comfortable just being by myself. And so I do appreciate that as I age, but yeah, it'll be nice to have had. I think on the other hand, it would have been nice to just have like childhood friendships, you know. Something about community that I think I've missed out on. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's depending. It's kind of getting, you know, tougher in certain situations about communities and stuff, but it's happening out there in different places. What's your age, by the way?
I'm 37.
Oh, okay, you're still young.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ghana is which part of Africa, right?
It's West Africa.
West
It's
Africa.
like right beside like Nigeria is a bit to the north east, and then we have Ivory Coast right to the west of it, and was it Burkina Faso right to the top, and then the Atlantic Ocean is like we're right there. So yeah. If I knew about seawater back then, oh man, we used to like live like 5-10 minutes from the beach, like car drive, you know. So
At what age did you leave Ghana?
13.
13. Okay, so you remember. You
Yeah.
remember everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, everybody wants to come to the Americas. They believe that life is better here when you know, in those places you got everything you need to live a beautiful, simple, you know, life. We don't need any of all this stuff here.
Right.
How much work you need to do in the winter here just to keep warm, you know?
Mm.
If we didn't have all the modern luxuries, man, it would be a lot of work just to keep warm.
Right.
So you know, and when you got the weather, and you don't have to worry about that stuff. You know, you can grow anything you want. It's just a whole different life. It's nature's on your side. You know, it's you know, when it's too hot, you go take a nap.
Yeah, yeah. That's right.
Get up earlier. You know, get things done when the heat's not too much in the middle of the day, right?
Right, right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's have you ever been back to Ghana since you left?
I haven't. It's
No.
crazy. I haven't.
Your parents haven't been back either?
They'll be the last people to go back.
Oh, really? They don't want to go back.
Yeah, my especially my dad, I think he's kind of like the influence with that. He's just like just due to corruption, and that's
Yeah.
his main thing. He just really detests that. And so
Yeah,
yeah.
well, over there it's in the open. Over here it's more in the background, but it's becoming
Right,
more in the open. It's
right.
difference. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And you know, like I actually appreciate it if it's more in the open, you know, because at least you know what you're dealing with.
Right.
And here, like you talk about the paperwork and stuff, and it's like, man, it's very, very conniving, and I think they're starting to see that now, especially in the last few years. Just like, yeah, just how the politicians can really be over here.
Smoke and mirrors, all deception.
Right.
If their lips are moving, they're lying. That's it's this is the land, this is the era we're in right now, and is the energy that's in charge is nothing to do with the divine. So
right.
we need to really stand up for what we believe more than ever now, and and just stand for what we believe, and just stay in that divine spiritual path of peace, balance, correct conduct, because nobody's going to do it for us. It's easy to sell out. That's what most people are doing. They'll sell out for a paycheck, and that's why we've seen what happened the last 3 years, because most people sold out.
Yep. Big time. I know a few, family members too, and it's eye-opening. It's like, wow, there's a lot of folks asleep, and I feel like, a big part of me feels like what has just taken place is kind of like a healing reaction, that's just coming up to the surface. And I hope like just the next generations, they can, they'll be able to see clearly through what has just happened, and hopefully it's a motivation to really make some moves.
Right. Yeah, it's good times. Let's enjoy every moment and the best we can. It's all we can do. It's interesting anyway what's happening. It's just I've never seen anything like it. So in all these years, but hey, we must take whatever we get thrown at us, and it only make us stronger. If we persevere and stay focused, we'll only be stronger. Just like fasting. You go through all these purges and healing reactions, and we always come out stronger. We always come out stronger. We fall off here and there, and we keep going. We come out stronger. And it's just you got to have that drive, that because it's not going to happen through willpower. You got to have a drive of a whole higher order sense. Forget about matter states and materialism stuff. It's not, the willpower is not going to make it. You're not going to be able to sustain yourself. A lot of young new generation people, they will not be able to withstand emotional assaults. That's why we've seen suicide rates have gone skyrocket.
Right.
More in history. Like I seen an article in LA County. There's in the last 9 months, they had more suicides than they had in the last 30 years.
Whoa.
You have to think, wait, what? Last 9 months, more suicides in the last 30 years. And that's that LA County where I heard that. But I think you can say that across the board everywhere. The suicide rates have skyrocketed. You don't hear anybody talking about it in the mainstream, nothing. It's all silence, but it's happening. And you have to ask yourself, why? Well, the whole planet has been locked down. They've been muzzled. You couldn't do what you wanted to do. You couldn't go out and so on and so forth. So it had a lot of emotional impact, and it's carrying on. It hasn't gone away. People are still affected by all this,
Yeah.
It's hey Renee, how you doing, Renee? So yeah, we need to really go to our core and what are our values in life. We're morally, do we have any morals left as mankind? And we need to stick with that and spread the love and peace to our fellow mankind, and especially our family and friends and spouses and co-workers, wherever we're socializing with the most, and do what we can. It's interesting times. Yeah, interesting. But fasting lifestyle. What I've you know, from my experiences in all these decades, it's your go-to reset. And if you live it as a lifestyle, you're continuously resetting yourself. You know, you may go through some challenging times for a few weeks, a few months, or maybe even a few years sometimes, but then you come back and you reset yourself because it's always there. So, but if we can train ourselves to do it on a week-to-week basis, or you know, every couple of weeks, or at least once a month, it's a much we can build our resilience much better that way than just doing it like an event. You know, yeah, you can see miraculous things 108 days, but then what happens after that? What happens after?
Mm.
You know, so it's the lifestyle that we're after. We've, since we started sharing, you know, Masterfast from day one, we said this is a lifestyle. Because back, you know, when I read Arnold, I was handed the Arnold Ehret's Mucusless Diet Healing System book in 1990. And I read that book. I knew it was a lifestyle. I knew I felt it. It was a lifestyle, and I just had to find my way to how to live it as a lifestyle. It took me many decades, but you know, we have a little understanding now of, you know, what to do, and you know, we see so much magic happening with this lifestyle, because it is the reset for all of mankind, for all the animal kingdom, for Mother Nature. Leave it alone, and it fixes itself. It's programmed within our from the divine creator. Everything it created has a reset built into it. We do not have to know who, what, where, when, why, how. We just have to know what state do we need to be in, and that we call it the fasting state. You know, Mother Earth, leave it alone. Look what happened when they did the lockdown.
Right.
All nature was bringing itself back to balance. You know, birds and bees singing, everything's happy.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, so it's not rocket science. It's basic stuff. All animals, they're injured or they get sick, they fast. They either heal or they die. This is the way nature can carry itself on. So the strong and the ones who can adapt can survive. Otherwise, the strains of animals would, you know, deteriorate and be killed off. But that's what's happening with humans. If we look at, you know, especially the last since mainstream, the medical cartel started, or you know, we're on a downhill thing. You know, we're seeing the younger and younger generations getting weaker and weaker and weaker genetically. They're getting weaker. These young people that are getting sicknesses we've never heard of before. It's absolutely diabolical. So what do we need to do? We need to, you know, bring forth education, trust in the creator, forget about trusting in man. You can't trust man for anything, because anything man touches, we've seen it in the past over and over and over again for the last thousands of years. Anything man touches we self-destruct in everything we do. Everything we touch, we destroy. So why do we want to listen to man when we have our divine creator who made everything in perfect, absolute perfection, but we do not understand it? That's the only thing we want. And we don't, like I said, we don't have to understand it, but we just have to trust it and allow the process. That's what we're doing in the fasting. We're allowing and just being the observer, just like watching a movie. You know, this body's not ours. We're going to leave it, you know, soon enough, so we can pay attention and watch it. What does Rainey say here? Arnold Ehret works changed my life also. Yeah, I don't know, it's affected a lot of people, that book. It's just amazing stuff, you know, and that information in there was profound. You know, he didn't get into dry fasting like per se, he didn't spell it out, but he talked about less you drink, the more aggressive the fast. So he went into that of drinking less to see what happens. I don't believe he actually did any dry fast, but he knew that it brings more aggression into the fast. And it's not something that, you know, we've talked about this when we started sharing. Yeah, if you drink less, it's going to be more aggressive. And what did people do? They started drinking less, and then they got themselves in trouble real fast. So then we have to see, no. People can't come from any diet and start, you know, dry fasting at these levels. You're going to just drown in your own filth, And that's what happened. We had one too many people drown in their own filth, because people will always do what you tell them not to do. So this is the way it is, you know. And you know, we've learned a lot. So now we corrected things and made things more clear, you know, put more emphasis on the lifestyle, because people didn't really see that, even though that's all we talked about. Put a lot more emphasis, lifestyle, and focus on the lifestyle, because anybody can do 108 days. We've seen that. We've seen people from SAD diet do 108 days, and then guess what? They had a miraculous healing, and then they went back to their old ways, back to where they were, if not worse. And some of them are not here anymore. So what's the point? You know, for the experience, okay, maybe that's what they came to do, but you know, we're not here to judge. But it's pretty sad to see that, you know, when you've done so much work and then just write it off like that. But each one of us has free will to make our choices, and that's what we must live by. All our choices, you know, choice is always yours, as we say. We present the information here. We share the information. We support anybody who wants to live this fasting lifestyle, and we'll continue to do as much as we can. So yeah, let's see, what does Renee say here? Yes, I did what I wasn't meant to do. So with dry fast, thankfully didn't take it too far, but I learned the hard way. Now I take a more gentle and patient approach. Yeah, absolutely. It's because you feel so good in that dry fasting state until it hits you, meaning you start drowning in your own filth, and it can happen from 1 minute to the next, and then you can get yourself in real trouble, and that's not a place you want to be in. This juice is such a strong solvent when we're drinking it that it's releasing too much at once, and the body cannot handle purging it all out, because these obstructions that we've been taking in our lives through diet, emotions, environments, et cetera, the body can't even recognize these things because they're not in nature, and it's very, very challenging for the body to move these things out. That's why we have all these tools. We really, today's day and age, we need all these tools more than ever. And boy, oh boy, I thank God all the time for all the wonderful herbs and everything that He's given us, you know, all these wonderful tools, because it's made such a big difference, man. It's just, you know, it's saved so many people. Renee, oh, the dry fasting is euphoric almost. First time I started feeling the fields, yeah, it's two different states completely. You know, when you're in a dry fasting state versus when you're drinking and then eating. You know, it's from dry fasting to drinking is already completely two different states, and then eating is a different state as well. So we got to be careful, and we highly recommend people follow the protocol. We know what the protocol does. It supports everybody wonderfully. The people who follow it have the least challenges. So we know we've seen thousands and thousands of people go through it. So when the people that start having the challenges are the people who don't follow the protocol. We've seen it one too many times. And you know, there's a few cases where, you know, people are in a really obstructed, butchered up state, and you know, sadly they're going to have to go through some serious purging, and it's not fun. You know, we've seen a few of those, and there's just no way around it because of the state the physical body is in, the emotions from all that, all those assaults and to life. So we have to be careful. We have to be really careful, and use the tools, learn about the tools, you know, read the tools over and over and over, read the protocol over and over and over. There's a lot of information there. You know, Ronald Everett's book, I don't know how many times I read it. And every time I read it, I got some new information, because way back 30 some odd years ago, there's no internet, no nothing else, you know. Just to get books, it took time to get a book. you know, you have to send a check and wait for it to come and so on and so forth. It was a whole different process than now. You can get things the next day or instantly on the internet, you know, punch it in and there it is, a PDF. So we're in a, you know, whole different realm right now. And, you know, it's got its good and it's got its negative, just like everything. There's good and negative to everything. So we want to use things for their good, you know, things like the internet. We want to use it for its good because there's a lot of crap on the internet, you know. So we don't want to focus on the crap. We want to focus on all the good things. And that's what we can use to help us and help many other people. But yeah, it's we got beautiful times, but there's a lot of challenging things going on, right? George, how do you know? Can you recommend what tools are best to use with swollen, painful lymph nodes? I've got a couple on my right groin that are hurting, a little swollen. I upped the kidney herbs and lowered the lymph ones and castor oil packs. Anything else? Okay, you're doing the castor oil packs. I was going to suggest the burn stick, massage them in. Your breath work is going to be very important in movement. You need to have movement. If you don't have a rebounder, just whatever kind of movement and stretching and so on and so forth. In the groin, it's going to be painful, not fun. You know, on your eating days, you know, keep it as clean as possible. The lymph nodes are not fun. Like I was a few weeks back, I was had avocados for a couple of days, and I started feeling my lymph nodes under my arms because, you know, I don't eat avocados very often, and you know, just for me, I really don't need them in my life. It's just a very, very heavy, dense food. As you know, as we say, for what we understand is fats are one of the most obstructive foods in the matter state. Very, very dense, heavy, obstructive, addictive, stimulating foods, and that's why everybody's attracted to fats, because it's so addictive and so stimulating. And it's very, very difficult for people to give up fats. And we living in a polluted environment in a dense city, we'll crave more fats because the fats numb us out to the bombardment from all the pollutants. And but at the same time, we're gonna have to pay for the cause and effect of that fat. It's, you know, as it's going in, you know, it's better to have, for example, that fat versus the crap that we're being bombarded with. But eventually that takes over in the obstructive nature and starts affecting the functions of the physical body. And it's just cause and effect. We can't escape that law. So, you know, being out in the in nature, I believe we'd crave less fats than when we're in a city. So living a fasting lifestyle will help us purge, but it has to be on a continual basis. It has to be a lifestyle so we can purge all this crap that we're being exposed to in every which way, you know, through the environments, through the diet, through the emotions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. George, yeah, I've had some before, but never in the groin. It's painful, that little one. Yeah. It's not fun. They are painful. What else can you do? You can I would massage it for sure with the burn stick, and you can try some also some clay packs, you know, mix in a little bit of bentonite clay or whatever clay you have, mix in some charcoal with that and just leave them on for like an hour a day, and see how that helps. Yeah, it's a little bit of a pain in the you know what, to do these things, but we got to do them because nobody else is going to do it for us, and nobody else has any answers for it. The medical cartel will cut them out, and that's the way they solve them. Oh, let's just cut them out. You don't need them. You got enough of them all over your body, and no, you don't want to be cutting out that stuff. Lymph nodes are very important. They're actually little plasma generators that we really don't understand They do much more than we'll ever know. Rennie, coming back to eating foods was so hard for me. Fasting was easy, eating is hard and dense. The emotional ungrounding should not be discounted. It's taken me a long time to get focused and consistent with how much I'm eating. Yeah, it does. It takes time. It's just the way it is. No big deal. Just understand that and let it go. Thankfully, I've been good with that of eating mucus-free, mucus-free, and mucus light with some minor slip-ups. Yeah, it's going to happen. Got it, Gino. Thanks. There's probably some herbs you can maybe. I'm just trying to think. I'm not a herbalist myself. I always use my friends as herbalists or go online and look for different herbs that have drying effects that you can mix into the clay as well. But clay is very, very powerful. You know, make the clay pack nice and thick, George, like about an inch thick, very, very thick, and you can reuse them if you put them in like a plastic container or Ziploc, and then seal it, and keep it wet so it doesn't dry out, and you can reuse the clay a few times, and then so you don't have to waste it, and then eventually don't throw it away. You can mix that clay out with water and then spread it throughout your garden or grass because it's full of minerals, right? Bentonite clay is volcanic source of clay. So yeah, clay is underestimated, man. Like things that people have done with clay, taking it internally and doing clay packs is pretty incredible. There's a story about a woman who burnt her corneas with bleach, and she restored her eyes completely with clay packs, and of course cleansing diet and so on and so forth. She was blind and she got her eyes restored, nice thick clay packs, and you do that an hour a day, every day. And many, many other stories, just clay, dirt. It's how much more simple do we want it? No, we have to take this pill with 5,000 chemicals and chemistry and patents, and yeah, your body doesn't know what the hell to do with it. It's just a bombardment of salt to the body. Doesn't help us in any way, shape, or form. It may appear to help us in the moment. It doesn't help us. It's only cause and effect is going to come into play for taking that stuff into our body. So yeah. Renee, we're going to be having next week? We're going to be doing the interview. Where did I write it down? I think it's next week. I have to look up. I can't remember. Where are we here? I'm 60-day plus path. Post-fast, I had some interesting things popping up over the past week. I've noticed that I had some binge eating tendencies. Yep. You got to control those emotions, keep busy, use the tools. Eating but never feeling satisfied. Yeah, this is where the emotions we start losing control, and that's where a place we don't want to be. So we want to have our home full of foods that are not in the high obstructive state. And if we want to cheat, have some cooked fruit or something like that. So we don't, because the cooking, it helps us emotionally, believe it or not, more than any raw food will. It just does. So a friend said that I might be overdoing it on sweet fruits. No, there's nothing to do that. And particularly bananas and Papa's, what's that? Papaya, I think, right? And that parasites can feed off. No. Overabundance of sweet fruits. I have no doubt. I have no more cleansing to do. Yeah, we all do. I stopped eating bananas and Papa, and binge eating tendencies have diminished. Have you heard of this? Yeah, parasites will feed off of anything. And the key for parasites to sustaining themselves is not the diet, but the environment. But how do we create the environments? We create the environments through our diets, through our emotions, and through our, et cetera, et cetera. So as you see, once you start purging, all these things start leaving, as you've noticed. And they start leaving because you're changing the environment, and they cannot sustain themselves in that environment. So what are we doing when we're, master fast? We're drinking grape juice, which is full of sugar, which so many people condemn me for. And so how can these things be leaving if you're drinking the grape juice? They should be sustaining themselves. But fruit is not something that is going to sustain the environment for parasites. They can temporarily live off that stuff, but the environment, as you continue, because you've just started, a few months is just starting. Like I say, 9 years is a good start. As you continuously living the lifestyle, changing the environment, you're going to see these things diminish over time. But do what you have to do to get through these challenging times, and it's okay. That's not a problem. But meditation, breath work, the essential oils, being out in nature, touching the earth, these are a lot of things that are going to really help us. Ground yourself. Make sure you ground yourself. If you haven't grounded your bed, ground your bed. So you're grounded as much as possible, especially people like us that we live in the cities that we're not touching the earth as much. We want to be grounding ourselves as much as we can during the day and at night. Like right here under my keyboard, I have a grounding mat. So I'm grounded always on my computer. So, all these electronic things and electricity, it doesn't have nowhere near as much of a negative effect when you're touching ground. There's many tests people have done, without the ground, the needle on the meters go really, really high. As soon as they touch the ground, it goes to zero. So we want to be grounded, simple thing to do. And, breath work, meditation, prayer, keeping busy, because when you break your fast, it's not a time where you will have nothing to do, because that's when all the monkey mind starts going cuckoo, and we're going to start doing crazy things. So, I've been through this many, 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 many times, right? All these fasts. So you just have to take control of these situations. We have to train ourselves through many fasts. There's no other way. We can watch 5,000 people sharing their information, but until we go through it, we have no clue what's going to happen. We have no clue. We have to go through it ourselves, and that's why fasting and breaking your fast over and over and over again. You train the emotion, and you start feeling what's happening. And you go a little bit longer, on your fast, and then you start understanding. Oh, okay, now I start seeing what people are talking about. And then you can take control of it. When you do 108 days, you've never done any fasting, and bang, you come off. It's challenging for people. I did it way back with no information, no help, no support. And for me, I just turned to Darnell Harrod's book and said, okay, well, this is what I need to go through, and I'm going to just accept it, and I'm going to do whatever I can to get through it. And I had no other choice. I had nowhere to go, nobody to ask. And I just took it for granted that this is the, part of it. And it is. Right after all these years, I learned it is part of it. And this is, some people just can't get that registered that this is all part of it. And they start going cuckoo and start pointing fingers at everybody except themselves. So just accept it. This is what we need to go through. We have to train ourselves. George, I'll make one right now. Healing is happening, but probably a lot of junk moving from leg up. Yeah, rebounding. You don't have to jump high. If you can, but you just need to bounce very, very gently, 15, 20 minutes a day. If you have a rebound, if you don't have a rebounder, look online for exercises that move lymph. And of course, skin brushing, if you're not doing that, you can make sure you're doing that. But there's exercises you can do, like swinging your arms and stuff, and swinging legs. You can get lymph moving. Next week, right next Renee. So we have Renee will be doing an interview on her experience there with master fasting. It's always great for somebody to share their stories. It's just like I was going over a bunch of the older testimonials and stuff, and it's just I get blown away because there's so many. And just reading, I forgot about a lot of them, and it's just amazing this what people have gone through and regenerated and corrected. It's just like wow. The divine always amazes me. Yes, that makes sense. Not the diet, the environment, not just foods, but the emotions. Oh yeah, the emotions are a big one. You know, and whatever I found in all these years is especially couples, you know, married couples or people living together with families and stuff. Couples more so because they have a different attachment, but family as well. It's very, very, very difficult and challenging in these situations when one is trying to do this and the rest of the people or partners not. And you know, we've seen people breaking up because of this. Because everything changes when you're living a fasting lifestyle. Everything changes. Your whole belief system start to change. What you're interested in starts to change. Everything changes, and sometimes, you know, it pushes people apart. And you know, this is why you know, Christ, whatever faith you believe, you know, he talked about, you know, fast, you know, don't tell anybody about it. So you're not fasting, we're not fasting for ourselves, we're fasting for the Creator, and keep it a secret and so on and so forth. We're in this group and we're like a family, and we're sharing, we're supporting each other. A little bit different, but it's best you don't say nothing, because you know how many people got ridiculed for losing so much weight? You know, people don't hold back when you start losing weight, you know, of telling what their opinions that are worth absolutely nothing, but they're going to tell you anyway. Because people that have never fasted are telling you their opinion of, you know, what you're doing is wrong and blah 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 blah, and it goes on and on and on. Because I've had that over and over and over again, so I know it never goes away. You know, I've been fast for all these decades, and people still make their comments. It doesn't never stops. So if you're one that cannot handle that easily, it's going to be affecting you negatively. So best to stay away from people. If you're fasting, go into prayer, go into meditation. That's the best thing you can do. Go into nature, and that'll be great. Yes, the grapes. I made a grounding sheet. Awesome. I have also a grounding cord to put on my feet. I made out of old power cord. Yeah, simple to do. I have a video showing how to do it. Love grounding. We went out in the field today, and I always sleep with a grounding mat. Awesome. Yes, keeping busy. Hi, Barbara. Nice to see you. Haha, that was my outlook as well. I just found MFS inside. It was what I was going to, just accepted whatever happened. Yeah. You know, there's a few long-term master fasters. They're in there and they pop in once in a while. If you listen how they're living their lifestyle, you know, they're living the lifestyle, and the benefits are ongoing. If we listen to the people who have evented and then right off master fast and hurt themselves going back to the old ways, why do you want to pay attention to that? You want to pay attention to people who are doing things the way you're supposed to be doing and having successes. You know, that's what you want to focus on. All of us will fall off the wagon sooner or later. Life happens. Life happens, and the power of emotions is more powerful than any force on this planet. It's the power of emotions is more powerful than the most powerful bombs. It's the power of creation. That's the power of creation. Everything you see that's created by the Creator is done through the volition and emotion of the Creator. So what can beat that power? That's how powerful emotion is. I remember somebody telling me a story that, you know, they had to go, they broke their fast and they had the craving and they had to go, and nothing was going to stop them. Go get that, you know, pizza or whatever the hell they're going to eat. And, you know, nothing would stop somebody in that state. Nothing would stop you. If you get into that crazy state that you have to get whatever you have to get. So if you've trained yourself little by little and over and over, and you're learning, you're not going to get into that state. Is nowhere near with that uncontrollable power. I remember the one person, messages me, I can't stop myself from eating. I feel like I'm gonna explode. I go, what are you talking about? Just stop. He goes, no, I can't. What do you mean you can't? You just stop, or you're gonna kill yourself. He goes, I can't. Okay, so I says, you have the bowel blaster? Yeah. I go, take a tablespoon. He took a tablespoon and he threw up, and he was eating sweet potato, I think it was, if I remember. He says it was still warm from, being cooked. How much he was eating, it was still warm. And he threw up, and it was over. The emotion, it stopped that drive for him to eat. He was lucky, because otherwise he would have probably killed himself. That's what I'm saying, that power of that emotion. You don't want to be in that negative state. You want to use it in the positive state and live the spiritual life and keep going in that direction with that power. And look out what we can do. Can you imagine mankind moves in that direction? All this evil stuff will be wiped out instantly. Gone. It cannot sustain itself. Evil is all bullcrap. It keeps making mistakes. It reveals itself. The divine doesn't make mistakes. We make mistakes. So yeah. Renee, that was my outlook as well. Oh yeah, I read that. I just want to see if I missed anything here. I think I got everything. Yeah, I think I got everything. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, was it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What else is what's been your lifestyle prior, basically, when you guys moved into Canada?
Well, in terms of diet, it
Was
was
it the
like,
same, similar of what you guys did in Africa?
yes, it was pretty much very similar. Yeah. Lots of rice. My mom loves rice. It's like,
Who
why?
doesn't?
Right.
We all love the taste of this stuff. Just because we choose not to eat it. I'll eat it once in a blue moon, but we choose not to eat it because
Right.
what it does.
Yeah.
But it's a
It is
staple
good.
for
I
billions
mean,
of people.
right. Yeah, pretty much the same types of foods, even when we moved there. And like Arnold Ehret talks about the blood, and I feel like that's really kind of like, because like you were saying, we go on these fasts and it feels so good, and we don't realize that it's like the whole program is literally in the blood, and it's like you're saying, the constant going back and forth with the fasting and the eating, you learn. And then also it's like, it's cleansing that blood, like that generational kind of like information in the blood to help to release those things, those addictions and those cravings. Cause yeah, once you come back from the fast, it's just, then you start, like you said, you put food in your mouth. It's like you're like 10,000 feet, and then whoo, boom, and everything changes, right? So
Yeah,
it's madness.
it's part of our learning experience, and if we do a little bit of time, we're gonna be much better off in the long term. I can't see myself without fasting in my life. There's times you fast more and less, but I can't see myself without doing without fasting ever again. I can't see it. I just, it's not possible. It's in my mind every single day, fasting, whether I'm fasting or not, it's always there. So it's, become a lifestyle. And we embrace that lifestyle because we love eating, but we love fasting way more. And that's the attitude that we want to brainwash ourselves with.
Right.
Terminology.
I guess so high fasting, it's like that was a catalyst. I used to smoke a lot of weed and that was a catalyst for letting that go, because like it got to a point where like I'll come off a fast and then it'll be like I'll smoke the weed and I actually felt lower. I was like, wait a minute. And that was just an easy decision, It was just like,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Cannabis, it's a wonderful herb, and there's many good uses that we could use it, but not smoking it.
right.
We used it for my mother. She couldn't sleep. We tried all kinds of different things and natural other things, and the only thing that made her sleep was cannabis. Just put her out, and we I can't remember how long did we use it for. Maybe a good 6 months or more, maybe a bit longer, and then she didn't need it anymore.
Mm.
So then she was able to sleep on her own because we were working on cleaning her out and cleaning her out, and then she didn't need it anymore. But it's something that can be useful for that, and there's other uses you can use it for. Also, she was having a skin rash, and the caregiver started rubbing it on her rash because I made it with infused it with coconut oil.
Right.
So she was rubbing it on her rash, and then it was helping her rash, and then her rash disappeared as well. So that was
Wow.
helping for that as well. So there's many other uses you can use it for. There's all kinds of people making claims it's the miraculous herb for everything. I don't see it as that. All herbs are amazing, but it's a lifestyle that's going to be the key factor of anything. So yeah, I used to smoke. Growing up, we smoked a lot of hash. Black hash was a big favorite. And then we had Lebanese red hash and blonde hash in those days.
Wow.
Cashmere we had a couple times.
How have you found it like with your cleansing and like your lungs over the years?
Oh yeah, I went through major lung detox, major. I stopped smoking when I started fasting.
Okay.
I never smoked cigarettes. I was smoking a lot of, hash mostly. The weed was on the rare occasion. We were hash smokers in those days. We liked our hash, but yeah, I had a major lung detox in 2004-5. I can't remember exactly. Major went on for weeks, like 5 weeks, 6 weeks. I don't remember. It was a long time. I was coughing my brains out every night. Waking up in the middle of the night, the hour of the lungs, and coughing for 2 hours sometimes. And this would happen every night for all those weeks.
Wow.
And during the day, if you looked at me, you wouldn't see I was sick. I'd be like this, just a little like that, coughs like that during the day. And then at night, and I had to put a pail beside my bed because how much crap I was puking out from my lungs.
Wow, man.
Like it was incredible. And I had pains in my lungs for a while after that, before everything settled and healed all up. But I was a major lung detox. I had bronchitis twice when I was 15 and 17, and they were both suppressed with pharmaceuticals. So I know it was a big part of that. Plus, all the smoking, that stuff I did, and all the dairy products. I used to drink quarts of milk growing up.
Wow. Oh man.
All that stuff had to play in, building up all that mucus. Interesting times when we live and learn. Renee's asking, what's your views on minerals in post-fast protocol? Apparently thoughts on Quinton minerals. We have the Quinton minerals on in the MasterFast shop. Our thoughts on anything externally. If we're taking things externally, then the body is relying on things having to be taken in instead of the body actually being able to manufacture them themselves. You know, we've spoken about that a while. When you're in the field state, your body can create anything. And we've seen it happen with all these people fasting. When you know, I'm not saying it's wrong to you know, do these things, and we can use these things prudently, especially doing these things. They can help us like in emergency states, some of these natural so-called isolates, you know, like the vitamin C's and the minerals and so on. We can use in emergency states because they act quicker sometimes than herbs. So for emergency situations, they can help us in those situations. But you know, minerals, I played with minerals in the early 2000s, before the wheatgrass days. We were doing angstrom minerals. Angstrom is basically a nano size. It's I think 1,000,000 times smaller than colloidal. And yeah, you're going to see effects happening because whatever you take into the body is forced to utilize it to work with it. It has to work with it. So yeah, you're going to see changes happening. But what happens when you stop taking them? You start seeing things going back to where they were. But if you are able to allow the body to create them through the fields, you're not going to see any degradation happen. You're going to see degradation happening when you start ingesting things. It's the opposite, but this takes years of, you know, working in the state. And that's why, you know, people that are, you know, living the lifestyle, they continue living the lifestyle because they continuously are reaping the benefits, living the lifestyle, right? The food is just for fun, as we say. We don't worry about ingesting anything for nutritional or necessity things. You know, we're taking things in for fun. That's it. And we enjoy ourselves when we eat, but it's just for fun. We don't worry about nutrition. We don't worry about any of that stuff. Calories and vitamins and minerals. Can you use them? Absolutely. We can use all these things. It depends where you want to go. I'm weary of anything that alters our consciousness. Exactly. Apart from fasting, fasting opens us up and creates strengthens our relationship with the divine. That's the main purpose of it. It really brings us to that sense of being at home, because that's, you know, we're going to return back to the limitless realms, as I call them, and it makes us feel much more at home in that state. It's a beautiful feeling. I sense it's assessing higher states when the body is not aligned in frequency from being a cesspool. Yeah, I guess we can call that a frequency. And I don't like the word frequency. We use field strength here, but people know what it means. I don't even need or have a desire for anything altering anymore. Yeah, because what can beat the state of being in the fields? There's nothing that can compare with that. Nothing, absolutely nothing. There's a lot of thought. We can't process external minerals unless it's been processed by plants first, though there's cellular structure. Yeah, when you attach the plant attaches a carbon atom to it. It's in an organic state. The body can utilize it much better. That's why we were doing angstrom size minerals, because the body was able to utilize them much easier because they're in this, you know, nano state. And yeah, you'll see changes with taking in these elements, but you stop taking them, and you know. And then we found out about ocean water and growing wheatgrass with it. So we were taking in all those elements through the wheatgrass, and yeah, you know, many people we taught how to grow ocean grown wheatgrass and sprouts, and people getting great results that were doing these things. And then you stop eating them, and what happens? You go back to, you know, a state where your body's looking for something that it can't get. and it can't make them anymore because you got used to an external environment. So you have to fast it back to reset, back to blueprint. It's the only way I found fasting. Yes, body creates them through the fields. Francesca, but that's the same thing with taking herbs. Once you stop them, body needs it to function. Herbs don't work like that, Francesca. We haven't seen anything in a sense of plateau with herbs, but you will see that with anything else, you know, in a fasting state. In a fasting state, let me correct that. So we haven't seen that. Herbs are at a whole different category. Health and Ultima talks to nutrition just being a theory. It is a theory. I don't see it as anything else but a theory. And I believe he is correct. Right? I've heard that, you know, I've read that from him. It's a theory. It's a man-made theory. All these things that we've been taught, you know, come through the white jacket societies. They're all theories. You know, they can prove it all with their microscopes and everything. What are they proving? That they can see something happen in the microscope over and over. That's all they can see. They're not seeing everything else that is happening beyond that, which is limitless. We can't see everything at once. But if we go inwards and we just become part of it and allow the process, we get into that knowing state. We just have to know. We know. We don't need to prove anything or theorize anything. What for? Because you know, we get into that state where we allow it to happen and it takes place. You know, as I say, why worry about your health when you're living this lifestyle? You know, the physicality will take care of itself. When you're focused on spiritual life, the physicality will take care of itself. No ifs, ands, or buts. It happens every time. It happened every time. You know, if you know somebody is in a very imbalanced, heavy, obstructive, sick state, you know, they're, you know, is fasting going to save everybody? No, that's what I'm saying. If somebody's in that really bad state and they don't really have that real deep desire to live, they're not going to make it through, no matter what they do. But for, you know, those of us who are ready, willing, and able to make those changes, and we understand that this is the way for us to reset and have the physical take care of itself. You know, just allow it to happen, and bang, it happens. Miracles happen all the time in fasting states, all the time, you know, and then beyond. So when you're living the lifestyle, you're seeing these things carried on, even when you break a fast after a long event. You know, these things go on. Like for the 108 days, what we've seen is it's up to a year to break the fast. It's up to a year to break 108 days. The things that are continuously going on, you know, there's so many things that people have experienced. It's just amazing, the positive effects from that 108 days. But this is, you know, as long as we're maintaining a clean and minimal eating diet, you know, if we're just pigging out, go back, we're gonna have a hard time with that. We're not gonna be happy campers. So yeah, just like the germ theory created to support agenda, yeah, germ theory, the virus theory, it's all nonsense to me. It's like, you know, one drop of seawater they discovered has over 20,000 different bacteria. One drop. That's what they discovered. I believe it's a lot more than that we can't see. So how are we going to figure out how all this stuff works? Just think of the combinations. It's infinite. Of 20,000. Never mind what we can't see. And that's with everything else in life. I think it's just ridiculous. All they've discovered is one bacteria, and this is the problem. Yeah, okay. What about the gazillion other ones? So you can see how ridiculous it is when you start asking the correct questions. Yep, that was my mindset. Just allow it to happen, accept the detox symptoms part of the process. It's all we need to do. It's very, very difficult and challenging when we're going through major healing reactions. It's very hard when you're in that state that you feel like you're going to die. But we always come out stronger. Always. Renee, I've still got weird detox symptoms coming up now. Oh, yeah. As I said, 108 days, a year, you're still going to see things. If you maintain clean, minimal eating, and you continue fasting cycles, you're going to see it's never going to stop if you continue a fasted lifestyle. It's never going to stop because you're changing the whole your whole belief system, your whole way of life, as we were talking about earlier. You're changing it all to move in a different direction, and you're in control of that, of the choice. You have the free will to choose of which way you want to go. Everything is bacteria. Yeah, we're more bacteria than ourselves. And how we're going to figure that all out. Good luck. What gets me that they program people to be scared of germs? Yep. A germ cell is a cell of creation. The etymology is from the word germinate, new life. Yep. I'm about to start another fast soon. Yeah. The more we fast, the more the correct questions so we can find our answers will come up. As soon as we ask the question, we have the answer. It's really strange when you're in a fasting state. Like this is what happened to me a lot. You ask the question, the answer comes right like that. Because you're in that knowing state of divine presence of higher order, whatever you want to call it. And that's where all the answers are, because we're part of that. We come from that. So, being in that, some people do it in their meditative and their prayer state. But if you're doing fasting and a meditative and prayer state, it multiplies, it's even more powerful. And that's what it's for. That's what, we're talking about. Fasting is a spiritual lifestyle, and, spiritual lifestyle. So that's what we want to be focused on. Forget about focusing on the physicality, it's very, very difficult. Let's put it this, it's very, very difficult for all of us that we've been programmed in all this material state, matter state stuff about nutrition, about minerals, about vitamins, amino acids, fats, and everything else in there. It's very, very challenging for us to let that go. Even for me these days, this stuff still continues to come up to the surface. And what do you have to say? Your keyboard has a delete button. Push delete in your mind. Delete. When it comes up, honestly, just picture the keyboard in your mind and push delete. When any of this stuff that they pushed on us, they brainwashed us with, just push delete. Does any of it have any validity? Yeah, there's some truth to everything, but why do we want to figure it out when we can allow the process and not have to worry about any of it? And that's the fasting state, because it resets us back to blueprint without any thought process whatsoever. It's just the state of allowing everything to go back to reset back to blueprint. That's the way I see it, and it happens. Yes, it's easy to get caught up in logic. We forget about logic, but people forget about the balance with spiritual side. It comes up for me also, Gino. The man-made side, these the creator, these the creator. Yep. It's going to be probably a challenge for all of us for the rest of our lives here, because it goes back generations through our ancestral emotions, through our upbringing emotions, right? Everything we've been taught, it's all there. It doesn't go away like that. And you know, the simple thing about, you know, getting paper, writing down all the things that you're challenged with, emotions that come up, and then going outside and burning them and sending them back to Mother Earth to recycle it. And you may have to do the same ones 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. I don't know. It depends how deeply ingrained that belief system is within us. And it will help you if you practice that. It actually works. Just everything's energy. So when you're putting things pen on paper, you know, power of the pen, it's energy. That's all it is. There's nothing else. This is all energy. There's nothing here. You know, we're made out of atoms. Atoms, there's nothing there. So we're made up of that nothingness of that plaf. The plaf is just an energy flow that doesn't stop. It continuously flowing, continuously spreading, continuously creating, continuously loving. And we want to be able to tap into a little bit of that so we can be at peace. When we're anything to do with theories and all this stuff in matter state, it's always the mind working and this and that and this, and we're not at peace. I don't feel we're at peace when we're in those states. When we're in that fasting, beautiful meditative prayer state, allowing, we're at peace. In nature, in that state, allowing, we're at peace. You know, look at the planet, what we've done to it. There's not 1 square inch of the planet or 1 square centimeter, if you're metric, that we haven't not disturbed on this planet. We've disturbed every section of this planet. We've bombarded it, and it's continuously happening. You know, stuff, the particulates in the air, it's getting carried by the air streams and so on and so forth. So, you know, nature is not natural anymore. And it's not 100% natural anymore. There's no part of nature that's natural. And we're seeing weird things happen in the animal kingdom. You know, over time, you're seeing more and more strange things in the animal kingdom. And I have to say, you know, these are not natural things. You know, like the chimpanzees, you know, attacking these smaller monkeys and eating them, tearing them apart and eating them. I do not believe that is a natural thing from them. I believe it's a monkey see, monkey do, and environments dictate outcome, meaning we've disturbed their environments with all the different things that man has done, and it's affected them, and they watch what man is doing and they copy what man is doing because of everything else man is doing. So the animal kingdom, I see it as a reflection of our mankind's emotion. All the slaughter, murdering, robbing things that we do, we see it in the animal kingdom. So it reflects back at us. It's our mirror. That's the way I see it. I may be wrong, but it makes sense to me. Have to want to experience it. Yeah. So yeah, we're in interesting times, and it's going to be get more and more interesting. You know, you got these warmongers continuously starting these wars and supplying and sending money to continue these wars is absolutely diabolical. There's absolutely no reason to have any more wars anymore. I think we've learned enough that war is ridiculous, and if we can raise the consciousness of mankind, those people holding the guns fighting these wars will just drop them, because they're going to say, this is ridiculous. What are we doing? That's all it takes, is to bring the level of consciousness of mankind up that 1 notch, so that everybody says war is obsolete, we're done with it, and it happens instantaneously. The 100th monkey syndrome, if you know about that. It's just the way it is. So in the last 3 years, I've seen everything going downhill for the most part. That's what I've seen. Yeah, there's always good happening, but the things that I've seen happening in the last 3 years is absolutely diabolical. And we don't want to focus on that, no, but I'm one who has to know. I want to know what's going on, and I want to see what's going on, you know, and I want to be able to focus on moving in the direction we want to see ourselves being, instead of all that. We don't want to go there. I want to know what's going on, because I don't want to know. I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. So yeah. We all have our own opinions and things about things, but fasting, it's not an opinion. It's built in all of us. It's you either allow it to be part of you, or you fight it all your whole life and eat 7 days a week. Because if you're eating 7 days a week, you're fighting fasting's beautiful state, which most of us have been doing for so many years, right? Eating like I go back in my memory and I look back and eating 7 days a week for year after year after year. The only time would probably be when you got really sick and you just couldn't eat for whatever reason, puking. So otherwise, you're eating 7 days a week. Going back into my mind into that time, and I didn't associate how I felt with anything to do with what I ate. As you start cleansing and fasting, then you start associating how you feel after you eat certain things, and you become aware and your senses wake up. And then you look back and how the hell did I do it back then? Just go back in your memory and you'll figure it out. Yeah, it's gone downhill a lot, but I still see shifts slowly happening. Yeah, absolutely. With consciousness, people are shifting. Even people that fell for the experiment are waking up. Yep. Yeah, it's happening. So we need to continuously elevate the souls of the planet, sending PLAF, continue. That's why we have the Massive Fast Plasma Bank, we call it, which is in the ether. It's not a physical thing. And we continuously sending it PLAF at 4:32 a.m. or p.m. or both every day. Spend 9 seconds into PLAF. And believe it or not, it works. The more people deposit into it, the more mankind can feed off of it, knowingly or unknowingly. If we're doing that, that PLAF will spread to all those in need. The ones who need it the most will be able to draw from it knowingly or unknowingly. And this is the beauty of the divine. Everything is energy. Can you imagine this planet if we stopped consuming animals? Holy geez, just a shift in that. It's amazing times that we can look forward to. But yeah, that's any last questions? We're almost an hour and a half. It's been great. Renee's here. What's one more? Yes, I think it's a slow process of accepting lifestyle. People want to be in a fasting lifestyle, but want to be level 7 as soon as possible. Yeah, but without being patient. I've learned that personally. Patience is a virtue. Quick fixes don't work, and trying to do it too fast means we get derailed. Yep. When I was starting to share this information, I really thought people were going to be able to handle coming out of the 108 days much better than what happened. And after was it a year or coming up to 2 years, we started seeing how many people getting really challenged, and we said, yeah, we gotta change this. We can't support people doing 108 days. It's just not worth it. Yeah, you see miraculous things happen, but we're not here about drama. We're here for the long term. We're here for the lifestyle. We're here for the spiritual side of things, and first and foremost, the drama and endless pages. You can find drama. They're out there. There's endless pages we can find drama, and we're not about the drama. Though it's beautiful to see how powerful the fasting state is and how people have transformed in such a small, short of time. It was a real eye-opener and really drew a lot of people to Master Fast. But, now that there's no drama, that's why you don't see it busy like before. People want drama. People want stimulants. People want everything now. People don't have time to work for things. What do we work for it? No, I want it now. I don't want to work for it. That's the state of mankind today. Get this and everything's fixed. You don't have to worry about anything else. Oh, no, not even another one, and another one, and another one. It's the Luciferic intellect trap. And everybody's falling for it. Most people. Most people falling for that trap. Big percentage. So let's open ourselves up to the divine, that energy, and let's stay focused on that. Who cares what anybody else does? Who cares? I don't care. Stay on the path. We're going to fall off here and there. We get up, brush ourselves off, continue. All right. That's all we can do. Or we give up and go eat 7 days a week and go have a nice steak every day. Whatever you want to do, the choice is yours. Nothing wrong with, people eating flesh, meat. I eat fish once in a while, this and that. But you can't do this every day, every meal of the day. It's not sustainable. Consciously, energetically, karmically, for the planet, for the animals, it's horrific. Horrific. With that said, send you all plaf. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Gino.
See you back on the page. See you next on Wednesdays or next call, and then next week we'll see Renee, and we'll have an interview with Renee and listen to everything that she's learned through her little journey, level 7 journey. All right, folks. Ciao.